President Donald Trump is getting grilled by Democrats and Republicans, as well as ranchers, over his decision to import beef from Argentina. American ranchers are warning the move will threaten their livelihoods, calling it a betrayal and a slap in the face to rural America. The White House, meanwhile, is downplaying the severity of the imports, with one Trump official going as far as to claim similar hardships as struggling ranchers and farmers. Take a listen to who it is.
Well, Martha, in case you don't know it, I'm actually a soybean farmer, so I have felt this pain too. And there are a couple of things happening here. I think we have addressed the farmers' concerns, and I'm not going to get ahead of the president, but I believe when the announcement of the deal with China is made public, that our soybean farmers will feel very good about what's going on, both for this season and the coming seasons for several years.
All right, joining us now, Wisconsin Congressman Mark Pocan. He serves on the Appropriations Committee. Congressman, it's great to have you back on the show. Let me just get your thoughts to that. Scott Bessent's net worth, $500 million, maybe just a little north of that. Just wanted to set the record straight on that. But some Republicans have actually come out in support of cattle farmers and ranchers and soybean farmers. Do you expect more bipartisan pushback against this administration?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. You know, watching a guy who's worth $500 million cosplay as if he's a soybean farmer is really, really insulting to the soybean farmers in Wisconsin and throughout the Midwest. But it's soybeans, it's the beef, it's all these other issues, the tariffs that are building up on the farmers, and you know, they just can't sell their market like they used to. They don't have a commodity they can go overseas. We have 0 purchase orders from China for soybeans in Wisconsin. And this cattle issue just on top of it, on top of giving money to Argentina, farmers are just really upset.
Congressman, I'm wondering if farmers are also telling you that they're being hurt by tariffs on inputs to farming, things like fertilizer or tractors and other equipment. Are there other cascading effects from these trade wars that you've been hearing from your constituents?
Yeah, absolutely. Big farmers, it's commodities, right, what they're selling maybe overseas. But a small farmer that has a CSA where 100 families get vegetables and dairy from him, he's got his milk bottles come from Canada, but the raw product comes from the United States. So it's got a retaliatory tariff, it's got a tariff coming back, and now it's almost double the cost of bottles for milk, and that's affecting that farmer. And by the way, a lot of farmers who are family farmers are also on Medicaid, and they're about to see a cut on that coming in the next year. So it's really tough to be a farmer in Trump's administration.
One of the things you hear from people sometimes is, well, you know, those farmers could go out and diversify. They could start planting some new crops, try something new. If they've lost out on immigrants who are working on their farms, well, they should be hiring American workers who I'm sure would love to come work on these farms. Is it all that easy for the farmers in your state?
I'll bet you Secretary Bessent probably actually believes that, but no one who's a real farmer would believe that. You know, they're having a hard time. They have a lot of workers that may be immigrants, especially on dairy farms. They can't sell their commodities the way they're used to. They're getting all the pressures. And at the end of the day, you know, Iowa has had a big hit to the economy. Nebraska's had a big hit to the economy. We're feeling it in Wisconsin, all because of Trump's tariff taxes. We're all feeling it. We're also seeing it in durable goods, people who aren't farmers. Everything is costing more under Trump's America.
Congressman, switching gears slightly, you're on the subcommittee of appropriations that funds the executive office of the president in the White House. Did the White House come to your subcommittee with any kind of plan for this demolition of the East Wing and projected cost of this new ballroom? And also just how donors are going to have some transparency?
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you're a visual learner, watching the East Wing be torn down is what Donald Trump is also doing to democracy right now. You can really tell it's personified in the White House. And I think people are looking at this and just shocked. We have not been told anything about it. We have written a letter to ask the administration to come before us. But, you know, Russ Vought is kind of the architect of Project 2025, the guy who's been firing several 100,000 federal employees prior to the shutdown. I mean, this is just business as usual for those guys. But to tear something down and then say, now you're going to go and get permission to build it up, It's just ridiculous, idiotic, you might say. And I think, people in America are way smarter than what the Trump administration thinks they are on this issue.
So how concerned are you, and what role does Congress have into looking into these corporations that are making these donations? And we should know Comcast is one of them, making a donation to the reconstruction or the building out of this ballroom, I should say. What responsibility does Congress have to look into those companies and say that they would be held accountable when Democrats regain power?
Look, I mean, this administration is taking pay-to-play to a new level, right? We're watching this meme coin that, the president had, and then those people who invested get to come and get a tour of the White House. We're watching this now with a ballroom that, is going to now be sponsored by many of the big tech companies that we should actually be regulating, things like AI. There are so many things wrong with what Donald Trump is doing. I don't have enough fingers to count them. But I do think people look at this and it doesn't pass the smell test, right? I've seen some Republicans say it's his money. No, it's not. It's a bunch of special interests who have business before the federal government. And if they're giving this, they expect something back, and not just, a nice chicken dinner at the White House. It's going to be something much more.
Well, Congressman Mark Pocan, good to see you. Thank you for joining us again tonight.